This is Lemon's Car Spotting. You post to Instagram with the hashtag Lemon's Car Spotting. We pick the hooptiest.
They are so incredibly terrible.
And which one we want to become a real Lemons build.
It does car-like things. I've been pushing for one of those in Lemons too, and those are very affordable.
Hey everybody, it is Jay, it is Eric, and we are here for Lemon's Car Spotting. Lemon's Car Spotting. This is really simple. You're out in the world, you see something horrible, spectacular, confusing, whatever it is, something that catches your eye. You take a picture of it, you post it to Instagram, you hashtag it Lemon's Car Spotting. We will look at those. We will find 10 to talk about, and that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to pick one at the end of the show to be the Lemons build that we want to see, and another one to be the hooptiest of the selection. And we're going to pick it that way right now. Eric, are you ready to go?
Ready.
Okay.
Stop.
That is hooptiest?
Yeah.
No,
sure.
That's the Lemons build.
Well, we're filming our third one in a row, and I've gotten all the Lemons ones. Should we just switch for the sake of switching?
I'll do the Lemons build. You can do the hooptiest.
There we go.
Okay, let's get to it. Starting out big. And it's got it all. It's got the covered up license plate. Thank goodness, because heaven knows, we don't know what would happen if somebody could see a license plate online in a photograph. That would.
Well, you wouldn't want anybody to know you were at the Long Neck Dispensary, as this person is.
I didn't even notice that, but
so good. Yeah, just slap some numbers on it. I'm all about that. This is like the car's natural state at this point.
Yeah,
I think
that's
it's a Monte Carlo, right?
That's true. Well, and not just at this point. I mean, it was the car's natural state from the time it was made. I actually think these are pretty good-looking cars.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're good or bad or indifferent, but I think it's actually pretty good design.
This is, it's kind of like a perfectly arranged 3-box. You can't do a whole lot better than that. And this was what passed for a sports car in my hometown, was the Monte Carlo Cutlass, whatever. So, I can't tell if that's faded paint or primer, but either way, it works.
Normally I would say, well, there's rub strips and trim on it, so it's probably not primer. But with a Monte Carlo, it means nothing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that could totally be either. Big old boy Oldsmobile. I kind of like that. What is that? According to the tag, it's an 88, which I'm sure is correct.
Yeah, we had one of these. We had a 98 actually on the Route 66 rally that the Save the Tatas guys all packed into and drove it. They got to the very end of Route 66 to Santa Monica, and it was just puking transmission fluid. They needed to get home. They wanted to rent a car. A rental was $494 one way. They sold the Olds 98 to the rental car attendant for $500. so perfectly done.
That's really good. And frankly, they got way the better part of that deal.
Yeah. Yeah. It was amazing. It was like this dark maroon with the red interior. Super, super cool.
That's pretty good. Of course, $498 would have bought a lot of transmission fluid, but sometimes you just don't want to. Fine car. Oddly in San Francisco, which I would not have expected, because sooner or later the ball's going to let go and it's going to wind up in the bay. But the Vista Cruiser, and they really were trying hard with these cars.
Yeah, there's so much to like about these. Like the wheels are awesome. It might just be a hubcap. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I think it's just a hubcap, but very well done, very elegant.
The two-tone, they got the wood trim really right on this. The lower instead of the mid panel, and then the tailgate's great. I think is it the clamshell tailgate, or is that?
I don't know. Or is it? Did these guys also have the one that would open either way?
That was Mopar. That was late '60s Chryslers. I don't know if Ford had or Oldsmobile had them, but
pretty good. It's pretty good. Not as good as the. I mean, this is the second generation, I think, of the Vista. I think the earlier one's a little straighter, a little crisper, but still a pretty spectacular thing.
Yeah, I like the The fender curve on the rear also. These are great looking cars.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this is definitely kind of Bill Mitchell, height of his powers right here. Thing's pretty great. Pretty great.
I miss
Plus, I like the patina.
Yeah.
Interesting that the mold growing on the car is a different color around the gas. Yeah. I don't know why that would possibly be, but I don't think we need to know. Well, okay. Back to a little bit of travel. These are just incredibly bad. They were not even good brand new. There was really never an excuse to buy a vehicle like this. You could always get something that ran better, was quieter, was 3 generations more sophisticated.
It's weird to me that this is in California because the only reason to own an International was that you owned an International tractor. You bought a tractor, and farmers are pretty well known for being brand loyal. So, you know, you got to have the car to match the tractor that you had. My family was an International family, actually. But we never had one of these. We had crappy Fords mostly. But it has migrated to California with somebody, I would guess, or it was like a Forest Service.
No, it's a statement. It's definitely a statement. I get it. You know, you wanna really be the anti-car guy. I get it.
Yeah,
but I would not want to drive that. I would not want to drive that car in San Francisco. Let's just say, not my San Francisco car. This, on the other hand,
fact before we need to travel all that. In my fiance's basement of her old house, there was just a random Travelall fender just sitting in the corner. She never knew why it was there. It lived there. It went to the new owner.
Well, let's see. All right, on see now if Travelall was a terrible car, this is what it should have been.
Yeah, this is also very tractor-like.
So this is a. Well, it says it's an 80. I think they kind of launched this whole concept, what, 77-ish was the first of the all-wheel drive wagon, the jacked up wagons. I think these could have really been something, but they're just not. We've had a couple of these in Lemons. Pretty good car.
Had several of them on Lemons rallies. They're pretty popular with the rally crowd. If it hadn't been AMC in charge of building it, I think that's what kneecapped him. My friend Alan Caesar bought one of these with a manual and tried to replace parts on it, and it was this horrible mishmash of off-the-shelf stuff from GM, Ford, you know, endemic AMC crap, and he could never quite figure out what everything was. The clutch system was like 2 different companies that had been adapted together, you know. It's just totally kneecapped by AMC-ness.
I mean, it's an interesting question in that this is where the entire world has ended up.
Yeah.
Had this been a real car maker who started, you know, this thing, clearly this is your AMC and you're doing this because you're desperate for a niche that is so unimportant that nobody else wants to bother with it. And you're like, well, we got to do something. So like, that's where we're going to go. Really ironic that that is now like the single biggest car type in the world. If that had been General Motors building that, we'd probably be through. We would be through the crossovers and on to the next thing already.
Yeah,
which would be fine. Oh,
agreed.
Speaking of the next thing, oh baby, a Maruti 800.
Yeah. Wow. So this is Perfect Drive, who is in India, and I followed them back. And got a message instantly from this guy who was super excited to be followed. So I'm sure he's thrilled to be featured on here. I know nothing about a Maruti 800, but just look at that. Yeah.
Well, all you need to know, I think, about a Maruti 800 is what you need to know about all Indian cars, which is it was something else.
Yeah.
And, you know, they bought the rights to it, and they've made like a bajillion of them. I'm a little fascinated by, clearly it's like a beam axle and some springs and some trailing arms back there. A little interested in why it's all jacked up. Probably because 900 pounds of chapatis go in the back every day. The guy's, I'm going to bet he has 50,000 miles just of in town running around with that thing.
I'm going to guess the roads are a little rough too around there, but it looks like vaguely like an MG Metro, which would track with the general imperial nature of stuff that gets dumped in South Asia from the British.
Yeah, you might be right. I was going to say it's got kind of a Mitsubishi vibe, like a JDM Mitsubishi-ish vibe, but I have no idea.
Yeah.
Pretty sweet though. I've always liked these. Always liked these. All right. Oh. Every time I want to stand up for Suzuki, because I like Suzuki and really kind of wish that they had done better. Something like this shows up, and it's just like, oh God, why? I like the spoiler, rear end planted at Autobahn speeds, but who would just like why? Why would anybody choose this vehicle?
It mystifies me that. Well, again, we talked about this in a previous episode with the Honda Insight that was modified with 3 wheels. This is a version of beating the system.
Yeah.
You have figured out the way to obtain cheap transportation that is totally adequate for what you need it to be. Maybe a little bit of a problem when something breaks on it, but you're still beating the system to that point.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and it's an interesting question, because when somebody asks this person, well, what kind of car do you have? They're either like so bummed, Suzuki Esteem, or they're so excited. It's like, I have a Suzuki Esteem. I beat the system. Hard to know what's in this person's head.
It's never going to be, I have a Suzuki Esteem bragging. It's going to be, I have a Suzuki Esteem and I paid $8,000 for it. Because you have to explain how you beat the system. You can't just beat the system.
I always used to, the first time when I came back to California the first time in the early 90s, everybody in Berkeley had Citroens. Like everywhere you look, there was a DS something or other. And they were all beating the system because, well, I can't buy a General Motors car. Like I have to buy an,
Yeah.
Turns out they were right. They just were doing it for the wrong reasons. They didn't know. 25 years later, I'd love that car.
Yeah. Well, they kept the Hansel family in business. So.
Yep. For a very, very long time. Boy, this is an example where the wheels really ruined the car.
Are those zip ties on it?
Yeah, I think they are.
Being stolen?
Oh, wow. Wait, I stand corrected. Yeah, that's not ruining the car. That's making the car. Those are wheel covers zip tied onto the steelies.
Those are the Walmart specials right there. That's spectacular.
I was so wrong. That is baller.
What's crazy about that car as a Toyota Crown is that it's left-hand drive.
Yeah, how did that even happen?
I don't know. That's a continental Europe car, I would guess.
It's looks like it's
in Panama.
Yeah, okay. It's Panama. That explains it. I've always thought these are sort of stately, but the little short wheelbase where the rear axle is tucked way, way, way inside never looks right on these cars.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's clearly a platform from something else, or they just decided to keep building the body bigger and bigger.
I gotta point out, one of my favorite things about car photography and any photography is that if you take the subject out of it, is it still an interesting photo? And the dystopian playground in the background is kind of a great background for that.
Yeah, that's true. There's definitely a kind of zombie movie post-apocalyptic vibe going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have said that was Eastern Europe, not Panama, but
yeah,
pretty good.
Kind of great.
Oh, here we are again.
Stretchy bird.
Yep. I thought when these were new, I thought these were the greatest, and I quickly got over that. Get a lot of them in lemons. They run well.
Yeah.
They're not fast. They're pretty good cars. What can you say?
I'm waiting for somebody with one to bring, they're probably not going to find an original one, but to do up one of the Fila edition ones. With with the Fila badging and the tennis interior, the whole shtick.
You gotta give them credit for having guts. I mean, this was a period where they just we're gonna do our own thing. Like, screw y'all, we're gonna round the hell out of everything. It's gonna be great. It's pretty good stuff. The Mark 7 spin-off, great car. So get it.
the turbo engine in a 3,200-pound car was a bold choice as well.
Yeah. Well, that was in the period where everybody was desperately flailing around to resolve the then unsolvable problem of how do you move these cars around without getting 4 miles to the gallon. So, and I think the unsolvable problem speaks to how we got to this car.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I mean, we had one of these again in a recent episode, Riv, and we were unable to determine if it was like an 82 or a 98.
Yeah.
This is probably somewhere smack in the middle, I would guess, but you know, it's the classic hallmarks of Midwestern Buickness with the 2 different kinds of failing clear coat on it. The hood that doesn't close.
Right.
You know,
I think that's where the water-based clear coat failed, allowing the chemical-based color coat to start failing as well.
Yeah. Pretty great.
This car's almost melting. I don't exactly understand what's happening with the hood. Like, the metal shouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah. I want to point out also that they cared about the lower tier paint on the two-tone by putting mud flaps on this car for some reason. Yeah.
Well, they wanted to catch all the salty mud and snow to really accelerate the rust on the quarter corners. What I'm actually enjoying is there is one new, clean, brand new part of this car, which is all 4 white walls.
Yeah. That it's been sitting on for some time by all accounts.
And yet, I'll bet every time the guy goes out and puts the key in this car, it probably starts right up, and he goes to the dollar store, and he's happy as a clam. So good on him.
I'm seeing 2 things also here that as I dig into this car, I'm noticing. One of them is like a T handle on the hood to make it easier to lift that they've installed.
Hold on. Is that not just the hood ornament?
It might be the hood ornament.
I think it's just the hood ornament.
No, it is. It's on like a raised thing. I was just seeing, it looked like a handle with the shadow. But the second thing is it has the Taco Bell Chihuahua dash fixins. Circa 1999.
That's true. That's true. And I think it had to have the hood ornament because most of the owners were having little mini strokes, little TIAs while they were owning the car. They needed to remember what they were driving. So
fair.
Yeah, it's important to have a reminder as you went down the road. Oh my God! All right, we're back to the Monte Carlo. Well, that was easy. So, well, let's see. I'm picking Lemon's build.
Yeah,
got to be the Maruti. Done deal. I mean, how could this not be the Lemons build? It actually looks like the wheelbase is going to pass. So Maruti 800, that's your Lemons build, no question.
10 out of 10. Would love to see that. There weren't a lot of super hoopty cars in their state. I will say
that's pretty hoopty. That is pretty hoopty.
The Buick's up there. The
I don't want to lead
Monte Carlo, but I feel like we have to land at the Esteem just for the simple fact that it is the ultimate car of why and that one is in remarkably good shape. And so
have you ever noticed though with these cars, whatever kind of wheel cover solution they had, all gone,
long gone,
all gone. Yes, it must have been like a plastic hubcap snap or something.
Yeah, totally. The first time you hit a pothole, it just exit stage right.
Yeah, all 4 gone.
As you do.
All right. Well, that felt very efficient.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next Thursday with a new Lemons car spotting. Make sure when you're out and enjoying your affliction of seeing terrible cars and not being able to look away from them, that you take a picture and tag it #Lemons car spotting on Instagram.
All right. See ya. Thanks.